For our next story, let's go back in time. It's the late 1990s. The Taliban is in power in Afghanistan. Girls are barred from school. Women are absent from public life. They cannot step out of their homes. If they have to, a man must accompany them. Also, they must be covered from head to toe. You may remember this blue burqa. It became the global symbol of the Taliban rule, a symbol of their oppressive regime. Now let's fast forward to 2024, to today. The Taliban is in power in Afghanistan. Girls are barred from school. 2.5 million girls and young women are out of school. Women are absent from public life. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to travel. They wear a burqa that covers them from head to toe. If they don't, there are consequences. As we speak, at least 800 women are being held in Taliban prisons. Others are dying by suicide. Women make up for 80% of recorded suicide attempts in Afghanistan. They account for almost 75% of the deaths. Essentially, it's all the same. Taliban 1.0, Taliban 2.0, it doesn't really matter. Women were oppressed then and women are oppressed now. In fact, they're worse off. Because the Taliban has made a new announcement. It comes from their supreme leader, this man, Hebatullah Akhundzada. He said the Taliban are reintroducing old methods, public flogging and stoning to death. They're bringing these back, flogging and stoning to death. And who will be the victims? Who will face this punishment? The women of Afghanistan, they will be flogged and stoned to death if they commit adultery. And this is only for women. It's shocking, but not surprising, because the Taliban have done it before. Last year alone, they ordered 417 public floggings and executions. So this announcement hardly makes a difference, but it shows you one thing, that the Taliban have not changed. They ruled Afghanistan from 1996 to 2001, and they came to power again in 2021. They took over Kabul, they formed a government, and they marketed themselves as a new Taliban, the Taliban 2.0. It was said to be different, more moderate, whatever that means. What is a moderate terrorist? But the world lapped it up. Look at their first press conference, for example. This is what their spokesperson said. And I'm quoting the Taliban spokesperson. Our sisters, our men have the same rights. They are going to be working with us, shoulder to shoulder with us. They promised to not repeat the cruelties of the 90s. They said women and men should have equal rights. Yet nearly 3 years later, here we are. Forget equal rights. Women do not have any rights in Afghanistan. In the last 2 years, the Taliban have issued 80 edicts. 54 of these directly targeted women and girls. So what they sold to the world was a lie, a marketing gimmick to rebrand themselves. They have the same old draconian policies. They practice the same gender apartheid. Which brings us to the country, Afghanistan. It's a country on the verge of collapse. 97% of its people live in poverty, 97%. 60% need humanitarian assistance. 20 million people face hunger. People are selling their organs. Parents are selling their children, all to afford a meal in Afghanistan. But that is not the Taliban's priority. Their focus is on the 14 million women and girls. How to deprive them of rights, and how to erode all the gains they made in the last 2 decades. A United Nations report says excluding women is costing the Afghan economy almost $1 billion. That's 5% of their GDP. Yet the Taliban continues to remove them from public life, and the world could not care less. They pretend it's not happening. They failed Afghan women in the 90s, and they failed them again today.